Marvel movies might be on our minds, but do you want to see the origin story of a sex-obsessed murderous old lady? I kinda do. What I don't want to see is that Marilyn Monroe movie, and I'll tell you why shortly. But most importantly, Matt Murdock's back, and he's gonna take over everything so very soon. I'm so ready for it. Welcome to the madness. Welcome to Murdock Madness. Hello everyone, welcome back to Monday Madness with Morgan and the Machine. All the M's today, Jeannine.
Yes, I like an all M day.
Marvel movies, Marilyn Monroe, Matt Murdock, Morgan and Machine.
Yes.
It all works.
Works.
It all works out. We're going to have fun today. I remember that I didn't remember, actually, that we have such a fun game at the end of this episode as well. It's going to be great. It's going to be so much fun. Jeannine, there's plenty we have to talk about before our main discussion. That is going to be all centered around all the craziness that came out of San Diego Comic-Con relating to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because we gave ourselves a week. Jeannine.
Did.
We had to
process because
we secretly recorded before any of the news came out.
Yes, literally, like everything came out that night after we recorded.
Did. Yes, it did. But we give it a week because, well, it does help us process things. You are quite right there, but we're not talking about all that craziness yet, are we, Jeannine? We have a whole bunch of things we want to talk about. To start us off, would you like me to ask the question?
Yes, always.
Sup, Jeannine?
There is a lot sup today.
What's sup first?
Well, you did mention a murderous old lady.
Yes.
So we're talking about the Pearl trailer.
Specifically a sex-obsessed murderous old lady.
Yes. So the movie X came out, and
it was great.
So I watched it the other night. I didn't get to catch it while it was in theaters, but I finally rented it at home, and yeah, really, really was not expecting to like it as much as I did. I wasn't sure what to expect with that one, and yeah, to see that, know that they were kind of also filming this prequel film at the same time, so that the stories were very much intertwined, I thought was a really kind of cool concept. So yeah, I'm really excited to see the past of this crazy old woman and how she got to, who she was in X.
Do you know what it really is? It feels like it's the kind of horror movie you want to become more than just one movie. And we get all the kind of the bigger movies, the more mainstream horror movies. You think of the Conjuring universe, all that. Did you had 6 total movies or something like that within that thing? 3 Conjuring movies, a couple of Annabelles, and a Nun movie. Was that what they did?
Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, okay, those movies are good, but they're not weird. X was weird.
Yes.
X was really, really weird, and I'm so thankful in A24 in general. Obviously, because if there's one thing I am, Jeannine, it's an A24 fan, as you all know. Especially when it comes to the horror movies, of course, of which X was one of them, but they don't really do sequels, prequels, follow-up movies.
This is kind of the first universe building type thing that they've done. But yeah,
I'm just fascinated by it.
Yeah, and X had some really interesting metaphors and ideas about aging and stuff like that. So they did a lot of smart stuff with that.
Much more than just a sleazy movie. You got to have a little bit of sleaze in there.
Yeah, it's definitely playing up to the 70s kind of horror aspect of, over sexualize, let's show naked girls and just see them getting killed, and there's not much to their characters. And everyone's just kind of fitting into a little caricature box. But they actually elevated it, as
They did. They did.
as Jenny Ortega's character says a lot in Scream in Scream 5,
She
talking about
does.
elevated horror.
Yes.
Yeah, they actually really do some smart things and have some smart discussions about sex and how the world views it, and aging and what people expect of older people, and these kinds of stereotypes that are put on you as you age and get older. So
Yeah.
we saw how important this woman's youth was to her, and how lost she feels now as this old woman who can't do the things she wants to do, to where it drives her to kill just to kind of fill that gap. So we kind of I'm excited to see, how this violent streak kind of grew in her, how this, discovery of her sexuality developed into what could cause her to be so violent later in life. She seems very much like she doesn't care who she has to step on to kind of get where she wants to go, but we saw she didn't really go anywhere. So I'm really excited to see her story.
Yeah, and it's taking her, and I think Pearl in X was sympathetic in the end anyway. I think you really felt for her in the
Yeah.
end. She was the movie's villain for most of it, but when you actually realize why she's doing what she's doing and her thought process behind what she's doing, you really do sympathize with it. And I like it, and I like this as a prequel, and I like what I assume we're going to see in this prequel, which is a very closed off kind of family who probably repress all of Pearl's desires and freedom and all this kind of stuff,
Yeah, I mean, we see a
which
teasing
cause
moment of
her,
her potentially feeding her father, her crippled, disabled father to
yeah,
the alligator.
yes, but you're bringing back things like that as well. That
Yeah,
I think in years to come, X and Pearl will be really quite well revered, really quite kind of sought after cult movies.
yeah,
And I love that about it.
yeah,
But I assume we're going to see a very, very closed off family, a very, very kind of repressed Pearl,
yeah,
and an explosion of human primal kind of desire. But
yeah,
also for a genre that in the past some people view horror as being kill all the people that have sex. This is what you do.
yeah,
Here we have what I think is an incredibly sex positive couple of movies,
yeah,
ultimately. And I think Pearl's certainly going to lean into that, probably more than X did. But I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. And the fact that, Pearl's coming out later this year. X came out in what, March? So it's,
yeah.
two in the space of the same year. This is a special little duo of horror movies, I think.
Yes,
And
I really enjoyed, her character, and really enjoyed everything about X. So really getting to go back, because in the little bit of time that we saw her, she was very kind of fascinating. She made you kind of want to know more about how
yeah,
she got this way, and she seemed like she had all these aspirations, but yet she's still stuck in this place. So you really kind of were curious what happened to this woman that she didn't get to do all the things that she wanted to do or live the life that she thought she deserved.
yeah, it's very, very interesting. I am massively looking forward to Pearl.
Yes.
What I'm now not looking forward to, though, Jeannine, that I actually thought I really was looking forward to, until I maybe realised what this movie was. And this is Blonde, the Marilyn
Yeah.
Monroe Netflix movie with Ana de Armas, which just sounds, oh my God, a Marilyn Monroe movie, Ana de Armas, this is going to be great. Well, what I didn't realise was that this is actually a fictional movie based
Yes.
on a fictional book. It's not a biopic.
Yeah, it's not a biopic, which I think a lot of people are confused about. It's based on a book called Blonde, that was kind of a fictional telling of events in Marilyn's life, I believe. So, yeah, it's not based in any kind of factual situations. We see things that are familiar. We see things that happened from a surface level, I think, but
Yeah.
any kind of deeper than that is just kind of this author's fictional interpretation of those moments.
Now, I hope some of you, watching, listening to this will know from It's a Wonderful Podcast, the main show, just how much I appreciate Marilyn Monroe as an actor, as a performer, as far more than the image, far more than the bombshell. I've
Yeah,
said this
she cared about her craft.
since the first time she showed up on the main show in a movie, which I assume was Some Like It Hot, to be perfectly honest with you, but I can't quite remember. I've said this, and this is entirely what I think. She is too known as nothing more than the sex symbol, nothing more than the image, and she was a fantastic actor. She was a fantastic performer. She was a very caring performer.
Yep.
And it seems that this movie, this book, we should say that it's based on, but this movie as well is treating her in a surface level kind of way. And I discovered that there's a reason this movie is NC-17 rated or 18 rated in the UK, and it is because it contains a fictional rape scene
Yeah.
in Marilyn's adult life that did not happen.
Oh my goodness.
She did not go through this in her adult life. Why is it then put in this
Something that,
movie
yeah,
to over-sexualize Marilyn again, when we should be focusing on the mental health aspect of Marilyn, the deeper human being of Marilyn? This is why I was excited, because I believed it was a biopic.
yeah,
And
and
this is
like
why
when
I'm
Ana de
now
Armas,
really not going to
yeah,
watch this movie at all.
and when Ana de Armas is like, I saw kind of interviews of her talking about it. She said this movie's about Norma Jean. So I don't know how much of them kind of talking about her past it plays into this story, but yeah, I
It
don't
just
know. Like that
that one
scene is
thing
just, yeah,
puts me off, and
yeah,
it puts me off
same,
entirely.
same.
If that had actually have happened to Marilyn, absolutely, 100%, an integral part of
Of telling
her
her story,
story,
whatever.
a
Yeah.
horrible part,
Mhm. Yeah.
but an integral part. But the fact it's in there, it's fictional, and that's the reason why everybody's going, oh, it's NC-17. This is going to be great. What's
Yeah.
this going to show? Is it going to show her, you know,
It just
struggling with
plays
drug abuse?
into,
Is it going
yeah,
to show the actual things that happen? No, it's showing a fictional, horrific act.
which has been her whole legacy that she's left behind, that or that people have put on her,
Exactly.
is this over sexualization of her, um, and really kind of just this awful depiction of who she wanted to be, who she kind of really was, and just putting this sexualized label on her, for all time. And so I think that
Yeah.
just plays into that. I see this movie kind of playing into that. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm just kind of not sure what to think about this. It's not something that really is, like you, I was excited to see this movie, and now kind of hearing more about it, and I I don't know. I don't think I want
No,
to see it, but
neither do I. Neither do
yeah.
I. I will happily take a Marilyn movie that positively displays Marilyn
Yeah.
in a real human being way. And I'm sure this is going to try and do that, but it's making her go through a fictional horrific thing that on the surface level, Marilyn's legacy doesn't need that.
And maybe there's some artful interpretation of that, but I don't see how you could ever make something like that, that is untrue about a real person, come out in any kind of significant storytelling way, you know? So
It's unpleasant. It is just unpleasant. But that's all I kind of wanted to say about that. I do not want to see this movie, and I now actually hope that anybody who feels like me about Marilyn, the person who thought this was a straight biopic, may now realize that it isn't. And because my God, would I have not wanted to go into this movie accidentally, you know, and then finding out afterwards that, wait,
that's what was in there. Yeah.
it's just, you know, it's not nice.
Yeah.
It is not nice at all. What else do we have to talk about, though, Jeannine? Something more exciting, perhaps?
I don't know
Or
about
interesting, or weird?
Why? Weird and random.
Or why?
So I don't know if you have those in the UK, but here around Halloween time, empty storefronts will rent out their space to spirit Halloween stores.
Yes, it's a
where you can
meme.
get
It doesn't
yes.
happen in Britain, but it is a
But you are
meme.
aware of Spirit Halloween.
Yes.
Yes, and they will, you can go there and buy your fangs and your capes and your costumes and your accessories. You can buy decorations for your house, all very much overpriced and ridiculous. But definitely a sign of the season when you see the spirit stores kind of popping up. So it is definitely a thing, to the point where you said, yes, there are memes about, you see Spirit Halloween popping up in like August,
Yeah.
it's getting to be spooky season. Well, they are making a Spirit Halloween movie.
I don't get it. Well, how do you make it's like, how do you make a movie about a shop, a store?
Apparently, it's going to be about some kids who get locked in the store overnight, and the animatronics actually come to life and like chase the kids. But it's going to be
bad night at the museum, isn't it?
yes, so it's definitely. I think they're going for a family friendly vibe. So it's not going to be super scary, I don't think. It's probably going to be like Disney Channel original movie, like scary. Goosebumps-ish, or Halloween Townish type
Halloween
situation.
Town, yes.
Yes, Hocus Pocus. I think they said they wanted to go for kind of a Goonies vibe. They did show a picture of some of the creatures drawings, which are actually animatronics that you can get in the store. So definitely just a promotional thing for their stores as well.
Of course it is.
I want to say when I looked it up, I saw Christopher Lloyd was in the cast, Rachel Lee Cook of She's All That. Probably like the biggest names on there. And
Christopher Lloyd
just like
400 years old, though.
Yeah. Well, he was recently in that movie Nobody with Bob Odenkirk. And he still was, he was still doing some stuff. So
he's not a young man, though.
No. So definitely feeling a little bit cash grabby. I don't know how to feel about it, but yeah, Spirit Halloween movie, I don't know.
Very strange to me.
Very strange, yeah.
Especially given the fact that, I mean, I don't know where this movie is going to play. I don't know if it's a streaming movie, if it's going to be a theatrical movie.
It feels very much like a streaming movie.
I can't see this being a thing in Britain because the stores don't exist in Britain. Where we go to buy Halloween decorations is just kind of like homeware stores and supermarkets, and maybe costume shops or fancy dress shops.
But you have costume shops that exist all year round, right?
Yes, yeah. That kind of just mainly become Halloween when Halloween comes around.
Yeah.
But no, we don't really have a designated Halloween store like a Spirit Halloween.
Like a pop-up.
No, not certainly not like a pop-up thing. I like the idea. I always like the idea of something to get children into horror, which I suppose this is probably what it is. And that's
Yeah.
ultimately kind of what Halloween's kind of about these days anyway. Get the
Yes.
children into horror, put Scooby-Doo on, and we're all fine.
Yes. So
And it seems
maybe
like
that's
what
what
this
it'll
is
be.
going to be.
Yes. So maybe that's what this will be. But I don't know. It also feels very, considering they're using creatures that you can buy in their stores.
Yes, a little
You know?
bit cash grabbing, gimme, gimme, gimme all the money.
Yes. So
I will
interesting.
watch Halloween
Yes.
on Halloween as usual. I will not be watching Spirit Halloween. I don't think.
Fair
Jeannine.
enough. You probably won't even be able to. I don't know.
No, probably not. Probably not. What we will be able to watch, though, apparently, if people actually do want to watch this, which nobody does want to watch it anymore, but not that we can get away from this kind of discussion either, it seems. Things just don't stop when they probably should stop, do they, Jeannine? I'm talking, of course, really about the DC
Yeah,
film
like
universe
I
and the
literally
fact
thought that they were gonna kind of stop building this universe, but they're still kind of building this universe.
it makes no sense. We spoke about it last week when we were talking about Shazam, Fury of the Gods a little bit, weren't we? We spoke about it
Yeah.
last week. But now we've found out that Ben Affleck is going to be in Aquaman 2
Aquaman too. Yeah.
as Batman. Aquaman 2, a movie that nobody wants to see anymore, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because ultimately, I actually really would want to go and see Aquaman 2. But the principle of the matter is that we're not going to go and see Aquaman 2. And we all really understand why, don't we, I think? And if we
Yes. I
don't,
mean,
just go and
you
have a look.
you have people in both this and the Flash that are kind of
Yes.
not doing well in their personal lives and kind of having their personal dramas affect their work. And, I don't think anyone's getting an answer about whether they've taken Amber out of this movie or not. If you watched anything about the court case, the people in charge of that movie actually kind of embarrassingly talked about how they were planning on replacing her anyway because she didn't have very good chemistry with Jason Momoa. So they claim it had nothing to do with any of that, her, personal dramas. They mentioned that it was definitely issues with chemistry and they had to do a lot of work in the first film to cut around things to make it look like they even had the little bit of chemistry that they had. So, but they still haven't given a definitive answer on how much she's in the film, how much she's cut out. And considering
No.
that Johnny Depp just made $3.6 million in a few hours from paintings that he did, from some artwork that he sold, is
Heavy.
telling me that if she is in this movie in any significant way, no one's going to see it. So obviously we got no info about what this movie's doing. So the fact that they're throwing in Batman and even, Ben Affleck, I thought he was kind of done. I thought they were kind of done on building this universe with these characters and these actors playing these characters. They were kind of just going to finish out what they had in the logs and move forward. But seeing that they're bringing him in now and like this is recently bringing him into film scenes because they also like were at um the Universal backlot and fans saw them that were going on the tour because they were like at some studio back there like
Oh, wait,
filming stuff.
Warner Brothers.
Yes. Or yeah, yes, the Warner Brothers studio tour.
Yeah.
Um,
It would have been interesting if they were at the
if yours are
Universal one.
Sorry, like
You
I
go,
just that tour is
go
always
through the
kind of when
Jaws ride.
yes, when I think of studio tour, that's just the first thing that comes to
Yes,
my head.
of course it
But
is.
I've also been on the Warner Brothers tour, and yes, people who were on the tram tour saw them on the backlot, so that was like
Okay.
recently filming things. So I don't know if
Weird.
if this is a new thing that wasn't planned and now they have to kind of fill out this movie because of those Mira issues or what. But
everything else about Aquaman 2, I am literally like, yes, yeah, this is good. I enjoy this. This is what I would want to go and see. literally everything else. I really like the first Aquaman. I haven't watched it,
I know, I haven't watched it I haven't had the desire to watch it
since,
again,
but I
but
really
I
liked it.
remember enjoying it enough when I first saw it.
But it's just, and for the most part, I like those movies anyway. I do. I can't help but like those movies. And it's strange to me how it's just trying to keep trying for some reason to trudge along, when unfortunately, for all sorts of competition and people that actually care about DC projects and products like I do, you've got your main competitor doing what they're doing. I mean, we're going
And
to get into that
look
soon
how well
enough.
planned they are, and they have a strategy, and they really have everything set and organized.
All we're waiting for, really, I mean, I don't want to be like the bearer of chaos, but all we're waiting for really is a semi-major MCU performer to do something horrendous in the personal life. Who that may or may not be, I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
know.
we've had little things that kind of
Tiny
were
things, though.
manageable, you know, Letitia Wright not wanting to get vaccinated and kind of
Yes.
throwing her beliefs about that out there, and
Chris
saying
Pratt and his
and
weirdness.
his weirdness, Evangeline Lilly also kind of saying some weird
Yes.
things and taking weird
But it's
stances on
not
stuff. But it's
criminal
not
behavior.
anything that, you know, someone's taking you to court, or, you know,
No.
you're getting arrested because you're assaulting people. Like, their panel had to be so dry because all they had was Shazam and Black Adam.
Yeah.
They couldn't talk about this Aquaman 2. They couldn't talk about The Flash, which could have been a huge situation if you had Michael Keaton coming back and Batgirl and all of these things. But
Yeah.
a lot of stuff is just on the shelf now. So yeah, it feels like, you know, obviously they have to keep some kind of continuity because they're working within that same universe with those characters. So I feel like the Batfleck thing was not planned, and they just kind of had to bring him in to do something to fill out the story because maybe they were removing other things. When the guy in charge was on the stand, I don't remember his name. Um, he talked about how this second movie was always kind of supposed to be like a buddy cop type movie with Patrick Wilson and Aquaman. So the two of them, the two brothers, kind of coming
Okay.
together, and it was supposed to kind of be their story. So I don't know what to expect now from this movie with Batman in it. I
I've
don't
got
know
no
how.
idea.
Yeah, so interesting to hear he's in it. I don't feel like that was a planned thing, but
I can
really
tell you,
thought
though.
they were kind of just trying to tie off this universe and then move on to something else. But
Yeah.
it looks like maybe not.
If it comes out, that she's been removed from the movie, I will be this movie's biggest, supporter. I'll be like, yes, let's go. Come on,
Yeah,
Aquaman 2. This is going to be great. But
yeah,
until that happens, and if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be that way. And
yeah.
it's
Because
a
I
shame
don't.
that I'm not going to be that way.
Yeah, I do not want to support that movie if she's in it. And
No.
the studio's choice to keep her in it despite everything else,
Yes.
particularly after how they've treated Ray Fisher and things like
Yeah.
that. So just kind of the shitty double standards that Warner Brothers has had, on top of them removing several of my wonderful DC designs from my tea
They did.
shop.
Yes.
Um,
They did.
yes, and the double standard with how they treated Johnny Depp with Fantastic Beasts and things. So yes, if they had been kind of even across the board with how they were treating people, I could understand studio choices. You get it. Distance yourself from conflict and scandal. But the fact that they weren't consistent with that kind of rhetoric just always has me like on the fence about supporting Warner Brothers in certain aspects. So yeah, I
Well,
don't
Jeannine.
know.
Well, what about another? Is it even a scandal? I mean, I almost forget it happened. But somebody said sorry publicly
Yes,
this week
again.
as well for something that people paid way too much attention to. And look, okay, you're going to pay attention to it. It was live at the Oscars, but
Yes.
people were obsessed by the stupid thing, and I couldn't care less about it. It was just like, oh well, that's nonsense has happened. I'm over it. I'd rather go and watch the Oscars ceremony from 1941. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
That's
Yes.
just me, obviously.
So obviously several questions have come out as to, what was Jada's part in the Will Smith slap situation? Did she,
Yes.
once, Chris Rock made his joke, did she tell him to go up there and do that? Has he apologized to Chris? So there were like quite a few questions that had come out. So Will Smith, after about 3 months now away, he thought, okay, I think I need to come and answer some of these questions. So he decided to sit down and answer some of the questions about the incident that happened and continued to apologize and talk about how he's working through things. So this was the first we've been hearing from him. And like even his other apologies and situations were just like, postings and text. This is actually him sitting down and giving a, face-to-face apology. So, yeah, he talked a little bit about, he's reached out to Chris. Chris is not ready to talk about it, but when he is, he will reach out to him. So he has tried to actually go and apologize to Chris in person, but Chris is just not ready to hear from him. So that is something he mentioned. Trying to think what else he said.
My thing with it, right? Though my thing since the start was ultimately like, I don't really care. Like it's not it's not affecting anybody. It's not actually nothing about it's illegal, really, is it? I mean,
I mean,
is it legal?
You can't go and slap somebody like that's kind of
You
assault.
can't.
Like,
okay,
and he slapped him pretty hard, and it's on a public stage, and he ruined people's moments. He put a damper on the rest of the night for everyone else. He literally did that on an award that Questlove won. And a special award for him, a Black creator, musician,
yes, you are right.
making this great documentary, and no one cared. No one could even focus on that because of what he did.
No, you are right.
Then he gives this speech about wanting to be a vessel for love and wanting to promote positivity. And he always has taken the reason he didn't do the movie Django Unchained is because it was too violent for him. And he did not want to have violence overtake love. That has always been his stance in things he says. And so, for him to kind of then go and do that and react in that way, I think people are kind of placing more on his actions outside of himself, that he's making Black people look bad, he's playing into the stereotypes of Black men being violent and all of these things, which I think that's kind of an extreme. This was just a man who did something on his own accord.
I think this is my thing with it. This is my thing with it, is that it was made about more than just Will Smith.
Yes.
And it is ultimately just about Will Smith.
Yes.
But this, okay, obviously, it was an extreme thing to do.
Yes.
It is also a spur of the moment kind of reaction. We assume, a gut kind of reaction that is uncontrollable in that moment.
Well, that's what he said in his apology. So he answered one of the questions, like, why didn't he apologize to Chris in his speech? So when he got up there, he didn't mention anything about Chris or apologize. He just made a weird, awkward joke about it, and went on to talk about being a vessel for love, which everyone thought was weird. But he said he was just still kind of in a fog about it. So he couldn't even process kind of what had happened. He hadn't processed it yet. So that's why he didn't say anything about Chris in his speech. He also talked about he answered the question about, did Jada tell him to go up there and do that? He said, no, that was a decision he made on his own. She didn't tell him to do anything. So it was just him trying to clear up some things and answer some questions, and then also just kind of give that face-to-face apology.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know anything about the man, he has a very kind of twisted, screwed up way of seeing the world and seeing success and seeing what's important. And He has a weird mentality on family and relationships and things like that. He wrote a book, and I did listen to this great podcast called Celebrity Book Club. I think that's what it's called.
Not
Um,
Celebrity Deathmatch,
no, no.
which seems
Uh,
more appropriate.
so they read celebrity books, like books written by famous
Okay.
people, of their life stories and things, and they kind of analyze them and break them down. So I listened to the one on the book he wrote, and yeah, he just has some warped ideas about relationships, and he has a lot of guilt about not defending his mother against his abusive father, and how he was just kind of so afraid of things like that, and his ideas about gaining success and are just very weird. So, if you listen to any kind of deeper things about him,
Which
how he
admittedly I
acted
haven't
is,
done.
yes, it plays into a lot of, you can see why he probably did what he did. That's not an excuse at all. So
No.
it's just up to kind of everyone if they, will give him that second chance to, he's almost like a first time offender. So are you going to
This
give
is
him a
what I
second
mean.
chance to, gain some of his charisma and career and everything he's built back? Are you going to give him a second chance to build that back?
Like, I know it was public. I know it was a very stupid thing for somebody to do, but I'm not now avoiding looking at his face. I'm not now
Yeah.
avoiding him on all fronts. I will go and watch a Will Smith movie perfectly happily. You know,
Yeah.
it's not this a similar situation to some people when they do publicly wrong things. This is what I mean. It wasn't. It was too much. It was extreme in the moment, but it wasn't extreme in terms of human behavior. People do punch each other.
Yeah, especially if they get to some kind of breaking point. We don't know where he was at in his marriage and his life, and a lot of
No.
things publicly have been coming about his marriage that are not favorable for him or make him look like he's being cuckolded and things like
Yeah.
that. So there's a lot of kind of talk and him and Jada seems to be very kind of open and honest about everything, especially with her show. So that puts a lot of personal things out in the open for him that maybe he doesn't want out there. And so there are a lot of things that could have been building for him that led to such an extreme reaction because he seems, and at this point now we kind of know that he seems to hide things, which
Mm.
everybody does. He kind of puts on this facade. There was a video of Jada kind of recording him at home, and he was like, "Please don't record me. My social media presence is my bread and butter. Stop recording me in my home without my permission." So, kind of that attitude is showing you that he is someone who is kind of putting on this face, and that face has cracked to
Yeah.
this boiling point. So, his apologies seem genuine to me. It seems like, he just had a buildup of things that just kind of exploded, and he doesn't feel right about what he did, and he feels very kind of believable and genuine in that apology. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen to him going forward in his career and his life, and yeah, it's just very interesting that 3 months later, because I think we all kind of forgot about it for a minute.
Little
So it
bit.
was interesting to see this kind of surprise pop up of him still kind of, trying to redeem himself for this. So
I
interesting.
do I do agree with what you say there, to be honest.
Yeah.
Virtually word for word. Jeannine, there is one more thing we would like to talk about in our
Yes.
What's Up segment. What's this?
A very powerful story, a very important story, I think, that needs to be told, particularly now in this climate of um, lawmakers not wanting Black history to be shared in schools and to be taught. So I think media is the next step to being able to educate people about things that the country wants to suppress and hide. And we are getting a Emmett Till story about the young 14-year-old boy in, I think, 1955, who was lynched and murdered for a crime that he did not commit. He was visiting his cousins, and a white woman accused him of attacking her, and he was ripped from his cousin's home, taken away, beaten, tortured, and then they lynched him. So this story is focusing on his mother's fight for justice for her child. The funeral of Emmett Till was kind of this big thing. It's burning hot temperatures because you're in the South, and or I believe it was in Chicago they lived. I can't remember, but it was burning hot, and she had his funeral, open casket, to see his mutilated body. The body was smelling because it's so hot, but she refused to have a closed casket. She wanted everyone to see his body. Um, so I think it's going to more focus on her fight to get justice for her son, for people to know what happened to him, for people to make people aware of this is what's happening to innocent young Black men, Black children. So I definitely like the point that this movie is kind of making, that it's going to follow the mother's fight for her son, and call attention to this story that maybe not a lot of people know, or maybe not a lot of people have heard of. So definitely an interesting and powerful point in kind of civil rights and Black history that I'm glad they're telling this story. So we got a trailer for that recently, and it looks like it's going to be a heartbreaker for sure. But
Yeah, I like that the movie does seem to focus on the more, it's tough to say positive, but kind of more positively powerful or powerfully positive mother's journey, rather than let's show a bunch of trauma that actually happened, because it's just, you seem to still too often get movies about non-white people in any sense that are focused on traumatic experiences, rather than kind of just putting non-white people in a happy movie. That is for everybody. The mainstream movies are quite often sad ones, harrowing movies, and these kind of things. Which it does look like it, but it would look a hell of a lot more like it if it was seemingly about, if we spent the whole movie with Emmett Till just for this to happen, say, at the end of the movie. Doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. It seems like that's probably going to happen at the beginning of the movie. And then it's his mum's journey of education and rights from that. And admittedly, this isn't a story I was familiar with. I guess this is just not taught in Britain. This is obviously an American thing. It's not brought up in Britain. We have our own horrific racist problems.
Oh yes.
We don't have time for other people's horrific racist problems.
It's too much.
But so I like that it can be used as a history lesson. And a kind of a cultural lesson. And one that is going to be hard to watch, is going to be tough to watch, but one that isn't going to feel exploitational. One that isn't going to feel like, as horrible as this is to say, one that isn't going to feel like, let's look at a mutilated body. It's going to be, let's learn about why
let's learn from this situation.
Became,
let's learn from this
let's learn about why this was a
this
mutilated body, rather than let's look at it. Because it's not some sort of circus sideshow. It's a real, like you said, it's a real horrible story, and I think people should I think people should be watching movies like this because it can teach you a lot and it can change your mindset for the better, in that you can become a more thoughtful person, you can become a more loving person, you can become a more open person.
Yeah. And I mean, with this movie coming out, that the woman who made that accusation, she's still living and breathing and living her life.
Oh,
So she needs to be prepared for
oh my God, yeah.
more protesters than there already are outside of her home. Because
Oh God, I didn't
yeah,
realize that.
the woman who made the accusation later came out and said that she had lied and made it up. And
Oh
at
my
that point,
Lord.
the men
And
who
nothing was
killed
happened. Nothing
no,
was done.
the men who committed the crime were acquitted, and one of them, I believe, was the brother of the woman. So, yes,
Right.
they were both acquitted. So that's why the mom kind of went on this crusade to show what happened to her child. And yeah, the woman later admitted she lied, but is still living her life free and living life.
So there's one person we can respect in all this, and it's Mrs. Till.
Yes. So
there we go.
Yeah.
Horrible movie, but the kind of movie that is important.
Yeah.
And I think it's do we have, is it like a Nigerian woman who's directing it as well or something like that?
I think so. Yes.
So that's, that I basically, I like that it's not a white dude.
Yeah.
Because that would really feel just what is going on.
I mean, that's how a lot of these movies were made.
Exactly.
Like, yes, all these stories are told by white men, essentially. But
you got this movie and 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah,
that was Steve McQueen. He's not white. Not that Steve McQueen.
Not Steve McQueen. Yeah.
Not that one.
Yeah.
The other one. Let's not try and list tough movies about.
Well, Tubman, the Harriet Tubman Harriet, that was directed by Casey Lemon.
Oh yes,
yeah,
okay.
So.
You have Selma. That was Ava DuVernay.
Yeah.
But so again, that's kind of inspirational, isn't it? That's positively tough as opposed to kind of negatively tough.
Yes, but I mean, you have like Steven Spielberg with The Color Purple and
Edward
Zwick with Glory, and so they're out there.
They are, and some admittedly, look, The Color Purple.
Yeah,
Color Purple's quite a good movie.
We're not saying they're bad, but Black stories by Black voices. I think they go at those stories at a different angle.
Of course they do.
So.
Of course they do. It just.
They definitely
authenticity is important, Jeannine.
And they have a different. They always have a different, more relatable perspective to stories like that, I think. So, yes, very excited to see Till and what's going to happen with this story and seeing the reaction to it for sure.
Well, okay, let's turn the somber tone of the episode right back around, Jeannine. I'm going to get my list out. Because
we missed a lot.
It is time for MCU craziness. It's our Let's Talk discussion. The whole slate of movies for the remainder of Phase 4, of which there is only 2 major things.
Yes.
The entirety of Phase 5 of the MCU, and a couple of little things from Phase 6 as well. Which is going to lead up into, I believe, Phase 6 is culminating in 2025, Jeannine, which is ridiculous to me, because the Infinity Saga phases, Marvel, MCU phases 1, 2, and 3 took 11 years, right?
Yes.
11 years. The Multiverse Saga phases 4, 5, and 6, with the amount of stuff that's in that compared to what was in Phase 1, 2, and 3 is taking 6 years.
Yeah, well, because now that we have shows in the mix, you're definitely able to kind of pepper in stories quickly without having to wait till the next big movie to kind of get your next kind of chapter,
Almost half the time for almost double the actual things.
Yeah, so they're like, "Thank you, Disney Plus," and
Crazy.
hence all the abuse accusations for poor
Do you know
for
what it
poor
is, though?
visual arts people.
It is horrible. Pay those people more, hire more of them, let
You
them
can
have the
afford it,
time they
Disney.
need.
You can afford it, Disney, 100%.
And you're being ridiculous. Yes, we all like the product, we do, but don't exploit people.
Yes. So yes, if those
This is
accusations are
wrong.
true, like they can't afford to pay these people properly to, you know, give them a decent timeline to finish things. Look how well they've planned. How many years of shit you can
Yes.
plan to organize giving people time to finish their work, you know?
Yes, you can.
So,
Yes, you can.
sigh. But yes,
Mm.
that is why they've taken half the time in doing this because they have these shows and they're kind of just constantly cranking out MCU related material to develop these stories and develop these characters so that when you get your big movie, you're kind of already in the sweet spot of, okay, I already know who this person is. I already know kind of their backstory. Let's jump into this next chapter so that we can keep the story kind of moving to get to Secret Wars, which I think is like kind of the
Yes,
last
that's going to be the
big
big
thing.
the
Yes.
big of
Yes.
phase 6, isn't it? Of the
Yes.
multiverse saga. I think we should just do this in a simple list format and just give
Okay.
some thoughts. We don't want to be here all day,
No.
obviously. We could be here all day talking about this kind of stuff. We do talk a lot about the MCU on this YouTube channel anyway, don't we,
Yes.
Jeannine? On the It's a
We
Wonderful
do.
Podcast YouTube channel. We certainly will be doing something for She-Hulk when it comes out, and
Yes.
fortuitously enough, She-Hulk is the next thing that's coming out. She-Hulk
Yes.
Attorney at Law, which I'm actually really quite excited about, mainly because of Mr. Murdoch Madness. He's going to be in the movie. Not the movie, the
Show.
TV show.
Yes.
Yes. So I like that it feels fun. I like that it feels a little bit silly, a little bit goofy.
Yeah, and we're gonna get, fourth wall breaking, which I
Yeah.
think is something the character does in the comics. I'm not gonna act like I'm very familiar with the comics.
No.
Everything I know comic related is what I learned from other things. So
Yeah.
I like that they're going to very much in the way that Infinity War or Endgame kind of brought us back to a movie that we didn't really care for that much, where they actually made moments in Dark World feel special and important. I like that they're acknowledging the Incredible Hulk and they're bringing
Yeah.
Blonsky back and acknowledging kind of plot points in that movie because that is very much the forgotten bastard stepchild of the MCU.
It
As
is.
it's kind of has a little bit of universal rights dealing with it. It's not wholly connected. If you try to do your rewatch, you're not going to find it on Disney Plus. Like,
Exactly.
a big actor shift, all of those things. None of those characters really you saw again, except we got Thaddeus
Thunderbolt
Ross was the only.
yes.
Yeah. So, because I always think of this big cast picture of like every movie and their like little cast all it was like an MCU class photo, and the only person for Incredible Hulk was William Hurt just sitting there by himself. Like I always just
It's
picture that big
terrible.
class photo that they did and him just by himself because he's the only one from his movie that continued on. So I like that they're actually acknowledging that movie, elements of that movie. We're gonna get Blonsky back and all of that stuff and
Yeah.
figure out how he's able to kind of morph back into himself and how that control worked because last we saw like we didn't even, of course we saw him in Shang-Chi, but we still didn't get an explanation as to how that whole situation played out.
No, and I assume Wong's going to be in She-Hulk as well. Is Wong going to be involved?
Yes, he popped up in this
he
newest
is.
trailer that they showed. Again, we're getting Daredevil. I'm curious to see what other kind of random fun little superheroes pop up that are going to need defending.
Yeah, because it looks like there's loads of little things going on.
Yeah, so I'm
the
really
most
excited.
exciting
It looks like
thing
a lot of fun.
the most exciting thing to me about the fact we're actually getting Matt Murdock in it is that it seems like we're actually getting Daredevil in it. Like, yes, okay, the Netflix Daredevil, the Netflix Defenders series, I was a big fan of. People know that I was kind of a big fan of those and was a massive, massive fan of Daredevil. We obviously have Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock in No Way Home. I remember
Yes.
when I was watching Spider-Man No Way Home, because I have only seen it the once at the cinema when it came out. I distinctly remember quite loudly telling the movie to behave itself when Charlie Cox actually showed up.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
I remember doing that. So I'm excited that now it seems he's going to be suited up. So what's the
Yes, and
suit going to be like now?
well, it looks like they have a little bit of yellow in there, so a
I
little
don't like the
nod to
yellow. I've
his.
never liked the yellow.
I know the yellow looks ridiculous. You're supposed to be like Night Stalker, but
I've
it's
never
like,
liked the
is it
yellow.
just your blindness that makes you realize that you're not wearing this bright ass color when you're a hero that operates at night? But I think it's just like a little bit of streaking kind of on that. It's not a bright neon yellow. It's like a
Okay, I
goldish
can
yellow,
handle
kind of
that.
just. It's the whole like unitard part is not yellow. It just looks like kind of a little bit of yellow kind of detailing on the gauntlets, maybe on the boots. That's what it looks like. It doesn't look like a whole ass yellow thing. So I think it's definitely just nods to that original suit for sure.
But ultimately, it seems like a tonally different kind of show as well. And
Yes.
I don't want to take this much time with everything we have to talk about, but this is the next thing we've got coming up, and we've got the
Exciting.
most kind of information about this at this
Yes.
moment, really, haven't we? So
And yeah, it's gonna, like you said, gonna be totally different from anything else we've seen. It's just like WandaVision was kind of doing this weird, unique thing. This
yeah,
show's definitely gonna be doing that as well. And yeah, giving love to Daredevil, giving love to Incredible Hulk, which I actually do enjoy that film. It's gonna be fun to see how they work those things in there. So
yeah, and I think it looks really quite good as well. I think
yeah,
like in terms of the way it actually does look. People were
yeah.
hating on the CG.
CGI.
I quite like it. I
I
quite
think
like
it
the
looks
way it
fine. I
looks.
think it looks good. Yeah.
Tatiana Maslany, I think he's going to do a great job
Yes.
and bring herself into the MCU wonderfully.
Yes.
After that, though, of course, we have the final thing, the final movie of
Oh,
Phase 4, which is the big one, Jeannine. So,
gonna
yes,
cry.
please take some time to actually talk about this at
Um,
some length.
Probably the most beautiful trailer I've ever seen. The use of music, the Bob Marley song, um, and then kind of having it go into Kendrick Lamar's song, considering all the amazing music he made for the first film, and All Right being this kind of Black Power anthem, and just like, yeah, I'm getting teary just thinking about it. Um, Really, I was one of the people who was like, I think I think it's okay to recast T'Challa, because I think it's important to have this character in the MCU. I don't want to lose this character. You know, Chadwick did an amazing job. He played this character so well. Um, but the character was not Chadwick. The character can still exist and mean something to people going forward. But seeing more that they're have decided to go this route, and that they are honoring Chadwick's, contribution, that they are honoring him in such a big way, I'm perfectly happy with that.
Yeah.
Um, so I love that they're paying tribute to him. They're moving forward, and it's also coming from, Ryan Coogler has given me no reason not to trust him as a filmmaker. Everything he's made has been significant, has been smart, has been powerful, has been emotional. You see the care that he puts into things like Creed, um, Fruitvale Station, and that first Black Panther movie. He knew what it meant to people. He knew what it meant to him. Growing up, where he did and everything. So it's having trust in him and having trust in his relationship with Chadwick to understand what he thought was best for this movie.
Yeah.
So, even though I am somebody who was like, I'm perfectly fine. I think they should recast T'Challa and keep this character the way that they're handling it. Looks like they're going to do a beautiful job. So I'm excited for that. Um, Excited that it's going to be this female kind of heavy situation, because women are such a big part of Wakanda in general. So to see them kind of, seeing Ramonda have to step up, and that powerful moment of her shouting that she's lost everything. Um, you know, that's what has people thinking she's gonna be the one in that suit, which would be so cool to see,
I mean,
and
it
so much
kind of
redemption,
would,
right?
wouldn't it? I mean,
And so much redemption for them not giving her Storm, because she would have made an
oh,
amazing Storm if they had cast her at the right
ooh,
time.
not
But, you know,
now.
no, no, not now, but,
Well, she's
um
Ramonda anyway, so
yes, I mean, yes, we've had double castings in the MCU, but it's always
very
very
minor,
much
very
separate.
minor.
Like Gemma Chan, Eternals, and Gemma
Yeah.
Chan, Captain Marvel were very much separated in a situation where they're not gonna probably meet up, you know. So, but Storm has ties to Wakanda and things like that. So
Mm.
definitely probably wouldn't work. So yeah, I would love to see Ramonda in this suit. I think, and I think it could be anybody. A lot of people are speculating that it could be Nakia because she is the first thing we see in that trailer. So
Look,
they're putting some significance on that. People are saying that there might be this plot situation where you know, Shuri goes uh to find Killmonger's body and resurrects him from the ancestral plane, and all of these things. Like, I'm hearing some crazy theories. So
anything
who
is
anything is
look,
possible.
anything is possible. You are entirely right. Absolutely anything is possible. I would say that the mantle of the Black Panther isn't simply T'Challa's either, though, is it? So people, you are saying things like, let me just try and get my mind working in the way it should be. You are honouring Chadwick Boseman, this
Yes.
movie, entirely. Of course you are. It's going to be a deeply emotional movie. Not only because everybody loved Chadwick Boseman, everybody universally loved Black Panther, no matter who you were.
Yeah.
Nobody didn't like Black Panther, but it was also a monster of a movie for black people.
Yes.
Beyond all anything else, beyond, before anything else, it was that. And it's horrible that, it's horrible that Chadwick passed away, and it's almost horrible that this movie is having to be as emotional as it's having to be,
Yeah.
even though I think that's going to make it unbelievably memorable. I think it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful movie. Like you say, Ryan Coogler gives us no reason to not trust what he's done with this movie.
Yeah.
And in terms of who is the Black Panther, doesn't matter to me.
No, like,
I
I
know
would be
it
excited to
doesn't.
see
I know
anybody in
I'm
that
not
suit.
saying it doesn't matter to me because, oh, look at me, I'm obviously not a black person. I'm saying it doesn't matter to me because of the actual mantle of Black Panther was at one point T'Chaka's, but he
Yes.
died.
It
It was
passes
then
on.
T'Challa's,
But even
and
to the
now
point,
T'Challa, unfortunately, yes, in real life, okay, Chadwick, but in universe now, T'Challa has passed away.
but like like it's almost like a Thor's hammer situation. Anybody who wields that hammer, this universe has set up that you're going to be happy whoever takes that hammer,
Yeah,
because they've set it up that you actually care about these characters. Any character that takes that suit, any character that's kind of in the running to take that suit, are characters that Ryan Coogler has made us fall in love with. We
and
love Ramonda.
frankly,
We love M'Baku. We loved, for whatever Killmonger was trying to do, we still loved him.
that
You know,
picture, I can
we
categorically
love
tell
Shuri.
you,
We
Jeannine,
love Nakia. We love Okoye. Anybody who could take that suit are characters that we have been, you know, able to love. So
if there's one
anybody who wears it.
person who I can categorically tell you now, that shot we all are referencing
Yes.
from the trailer, from Wakanda Forever's trailer, of just behind the booty, shall we say, of Black Panther gets the claws out. It ain't Winston Duke.
No, it's not.
There's no chance it is M'Baku. It could literally be anybody else in Wakanda.
But I mean,
It ain't M'Baku.
I've heard several things that, like, it could be some Iron Man 3 situation where there are several people in the suit.
Could be.
You know, so who
Could
knows?
be.
Um
But if it's Nakia in the suit, if it's Lupita in the suit, yes. If it's Shuri in the suit and Letitia Wright's taking, yes. If it's Ramonda and we're getting that, I mean, oh my god, that's kind of the most exciting prospect.
Yes. Some people are like, it's unlikely, but oh my god, I would love that.
But whether she'd want to do that,
I don't know. I mean, Angela Bassett is in great shape. Have you seen her?
I'm
Like,
sure Angela Bassett's in
she
wonderful
still has
shape.
them Tina Turner arms, okay?
Yeah, I'm sure Angela. Look, I would love Angela Bassett to actually become just for a little bit
Yeah.
and don the suit. I would, but it could be Okoye. It could be, the head of the Dora Milaje. It could be anybody. But like we say, what they are going to ensure they do is respect it no matter what. And that's the most important thing. And
Yes.
I think it's a wonderful movie to end a phase. And I think it's because it's going to feel very final, but there's a shred of there
There's
going
gonna be a shred of
forward.
hope of what's to come and that we're gonna get, opening you up to more. Also more as in Namor.
Oh,
Uh,
Namor, yes, he's in. That's not the important part of this movie. But
I
Namor,
mean, I think
yes,
it
a
also
new,
is an
brand
important
new.
part to a lot of people, I think, in
He
terms of
is.
representation and, um, you know, uh, the depiction of him looks like it's gonna be really cool. Like, we saw clips of, like, his birth underwater
Oh, he
and
looks
we're
he
gonna
looks super
he
cool.
looks great and the kind of Aztec, kinda indigenous, elements to this character, and I'm really curious to see the conflict, what causes him to it look and everyone's saying that in comics he is literally the first mutant, so if that's gonna play
Yeah,
into the building of mutants in the MCU.
you have to
So yeah,
assume it is.
yeah,
You
so
have
he's
to
gonna be
assume it
coming with
is.
a lot of interesting things. We see Wakanda getting flooded, so what causes to this conflict that he decides to flood Wakanda? So I'm really curious to see, how he plays as a villain. Is he going to have some kind of redemptive turnaround, or if, how is this all gonna play out? So I'm really excited for Namor. I'm excited for Ironheart ever since I had heard of this character,
Yeah,
Riri Williams. I've done some I had done Riri Williams art just having, read her story. Um, and really excited to see her. And apparently, in doing some research, her character is not really well liked. She's kind of getting the initial Miles Morales treatment when he first came into
I see.
comics and things like that. So, but love that clip of her hammering that heart out and just
Yeah,
evoking Tony.
very
Um,
Tony.
Yes. So I'm curious to see how if they're gonna change up her story in any kind of way, because in the comics she was close to Tony. He saw the work that she was doing and he kind of reached out to her. But, so I wonder how they're gonna work that into her character not having Tony there to kind of
Yeah,
mentor her. He had that whole relationship with Peter instead. So I'm
yeah,
curious
but
to see how they're
she's gonna have, by
Shuri
the
as
sounds of it, Shuri and several other people in Wakanda.
Yes. So but I mean, I'm saying if she's gonna be evoking kind of Iron Man essence, but I mean, Iron Man was a big superhero. He could have inspired tons of people with what he did. So,
Exactly.
and she's a 15-year-old girl at MIT. He went to MIT and funded everybody's projects. She
Yeah,
could have very well been one of those people whose projects he funded.
absolutely.
So, yeah, really excited. She's going to be in this story. I think she's a really cool character, and if this is in fact developing this new iteration of the Avengers, and she's going to be a part of that,
Yeah, you
cool
you you
beans.
have to assume that. I think you do
Yeah.
have to assume that, and you have to assume that. I mean, later on in the list here, Iron there's an Ironheart TV show,
Show, yes.
so you have to assume that we are introduced to her in this movie, we are become familiar with who she is, and then we then have her TV show where we see her journey
And
to
flesh it out.
becoming full Ironheart.
Yeah.
Then she potters off into the Avengers.
Yeah. With all the other
Sim
young
I
Avengers
think
that we've kind of been peppered throughout these
I'm
shows and
excited for
things.
it. I'm
Yes.
excited for it
Me
because
too.
I really like all these just kind of young, plucky Avengers rather than,
Yes.
45-year-old
Old
Avengers.
weathered Avengers.
Because
Um,
Downey
but yeah.
Jr. was 40 when he started Iron
Yeah.
Man, wasn't he, or something like that? So you know,
2008. Yeah.
they're all young. They're all young now.
Yeah.
Kamala Khan, Kate Bishop, Ironheart.
Yes.
They're all young. So I like it, and you have to. And if Peter's the father of them all, which you kind of
If she
Yelena.
doesn't, I mean, she is
No, well,
gonna
depending on what
be in the
Yelena's gonna
Thunderbolts.
do,
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see.
but we will. I'm obviously massively excited for Wakanda Forever to finish off Phase 4. Let's just kind of quickly rattle through the Phase 5 list. We don't want to be here all day. We're at risk of being here all day, Jeannine.
I mean, we do, but I don't think everyone else does.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? This is exactly the thing. I have this in movies and TV separate, unfortunately, so it's not like what's coming after each other. But in terms of the movies of the MCU Phase 5, you have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels: Blade, and Captain America: New World Order. There is a Funko Pop of Captain America Sam Wilson, Jeannine. Hello, Sam. Do we all have to say hello to Sam? Is that how it works?
Yes.
Hello, Sam. Isn't it fun how Captain America is also now Uncle Sam?
It's terrible.
He is. He is. Is that not accurate?
I mean, I guess.
It is accurate. Anyway, the movies of the MCU Phase 5, Jeannine, what do we make of those? Any that stick out in particular?
I'm definitely curious to see Sam kind of take the lead as Captain America.
Yes.
I think they definitely laid out his story really well. The Falcon Winter Soldier definitely gave us what we needed from him to really just get behind the idea of him being Captain America. Because I feel like, yeah, in most terms, he was just kind of Cap's sidekick, would kind of follow him through the fire in any situation. But this fleshed out his story, the fact that he has contributed so much into saving the world, and he can't even get a loan to help out his family. A lot of things that he's dealt with race-wise, and people kind of putting him down and not thinking he's good enough purely because of the color of his skin, and so those things he's going to have to deal with. I think they didn't shy away from that. So having to represent this country who has a not very good track record with how they see people of color, I hope that is something they lean into. I hope that is something that they are honest about, and really showing Sam's integrity and how he is able to deal with those types of situations. So I'm really curious to see what aspects they lean into. I'm really curious to see who's directing this movie, and what direction they decide to take with it. So definitely my most anticipated in this kind of section potentially would be the Captain America, because I'm really, this is a huge character we've seen for so many films, and really curious to see how he's going to take up the mantle for sure.
No, absolutely. And that's going to be the movie, The Thing, that closes out Phase 5.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be very interesting. I'm very, very interested for Captain America.
For you, though, I feel like there's something that you maybe are least excited about seeing.
Well, I guess, look, it's a pretty strong list of movies, but if there is one on there that I'm kind of just like, not meh, but does not meet the level of the others, it's Guardians 3, really. I know that Guardians 3 is going to be the end of a story. It is.
Well, it's going to be
the end of a Guardians story.
Well, it's not going to be solely the end of the Guardians. It's going to be, what I'm hearing, it's going to be the end of this iteration. It's going to be at the end of this Drax, Quill, team. So we still might get Guardians, which in the comics the teams have been mixed up and
I don't mean it's the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean it's the end of these people.
This iteration of the Guardians. And
together.
I think Yes. And this one's going to be a bit more emotional in the fact that we're actually going to see uh Rocket's story. We're going to see him as a baby raccoon
Oh,
getting, I think they actually did show the trailer at Comic-Con, and apparently it's like baby Rocket as like an actual raccoon and looking scared, and a hand reaching out for him and pulling him out and to do the experiments on him. And we're actually the
oh
villain is
wow,
going to
okay.
be the person who has done these experiments. I can't remember if he's like the High Inquisitor or the Grand Inquisitor. I can't remember his name. He's
But
played
the
by
Grand Inquisitor is Star Wars, isn't it?
I know, that's why I'm like, I can't remember what he's called. But he actually showed up at Comic-Con in full
Wait,
costume.
sorry. The Grand Inquisitor's Star Wars. The High
I probably
Inquisitor is Dolores Umbridge.
yeah, see, so that's probably what I'm mixing up all of these Inquisitor names. I don't remember what his name is at all. So I'm not even gonna try anymore because I'm just making myself look like a complete idiot right now.
No, I just
Um
really like I just really like the idea of
and
Dolores
I'm
Umbridge
getting
going after
all
Rocket.
these things that are probably similar to that are in
Yeah.
my zeitgeist of things. Obviously love Harry Potter, obviously a fan of Star Wars to some degree, and those things are just in my brain, completely missing this guy's name altogether.
Well, I have
So
no idea. Look,
um
I don't massively know
the High
much.
Evolutionary, that's what it is.
Ah, okay. I don't massively know what Guardians 3 is going to entail. I have faith that I'm going to enjoy the movie. I enjoy
So
the
yes,
Guardians movies, but there's just something notably kind of excitingly forward about the other movies, whereas that is the kind of it's the come down. It's the
yes.
come down of something that has ultimately the Guardians of the Galaxy already peaked, and now we're on the
Downturn
trajectory
of
of the
them.
come down.
Yes.
With
Um well, someone
sorry,
pointed out, sorry, go ahead.
no. What were you going to say?
Well, I basically just watched several people's descriptions of the trailer, of people who actually saw the trailer.
I see.
And yes, it's going to tell Groot's story. It's going to have the High Evolutionary villain. He's the one who makes these kind of creations of, animals and experiments and things. We're also going to see Quill basically simping over this new version of Gamora, or I guess this old version of Gamora,
Yeah.
because she is now like the leader of the Ravagers. And so he's basically telling her how
Oh,
much he misses her and how much he loves her and all of these things, but it's just not clicking for her.
yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of gets that back. We can't forget we're getting Will Poulter's Adam Warlock in this, so I'm
Oh,
really
that's
curious to see
true.
what role he
Yeah.
plays and if he is going to be this kind of in this new iteration of the Guardians. We're getting this kind
Yeah,
of
that's true. I forgot about that.
mega Groot, like this giant version of Groot. So I'm curious to see how that
Giant
goes.
Groot. How many sizes can Groot
Yeah, I don't
possibly
know.
have?
Dave Bautista, he kind of let slip that this was like his last movie, so Drax is either going to die or just be done and not in this next group.
Yeah.
So I'm emotional in the sense that just the way these characters, because this just played into Marvel's like opening in the first place, the fact that they did not have rights to some of their biggest characters. They were either at Fox or other studios, so they did not have the rights to their most popular characters. So they had to work with what they had with characters like Iron Man and properties that were not that big. And built this epic universe to where Iron Man is like a superstar character now that like, he was not that, I don't think, in his
Yeah.
time, really. He was like B tier character. And the fact that they were able to turn these characters that nobody knew into these, peak special people that we love. So that's what Guardians kind of was. We fell in love with these ragtag group of comic book characters that most people probably had never heard of. Most people didn't really read their comics. They weren't really popular. So I'm still hold on to that always with these characters, that I'm always
Yeah.
curious to see, the fact that he was able to make us love these characters. And so now this is kind of their final iteration. That's what's getting me a bit emotional about how this is going to be the ending of this team, because how they came together in the first movie was just so great. How they were able to kind of come back together in the second film. it was just a testament to, this team. So to know that we're going to lose that, it's going to be an emotional thing, I think. So I'm excited just to see how they're going to close their story out, how it's going to work out for them. Looks like we're going to get more emotional things, particularly with Rocket stories. So there's a lot here that feel like, I'm invested in these people, so I'm going to be emotional about. So I'm excited to see those things.
Well, perhaps then, Jeannine, I simply need to allow myself to fall in love with the Guardians of the Galaxy again.
Yes.
Perhaps that's what's lacking in my brain. I really don't want to be caught up for too long on each of these things, though.
Yes.
I mean, in terms of those other movies, Quantumania is obviously going to be pretty significant in the sense that you're getting Kang at full level.
Yes, to the point where we're getting a whole...
You got the little snippet, shall we say, of He Who Remains of Jonathan Majors at the end of the first season of Loki. But of course, he is the main villain of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This is
supposed to build to an Avengers movie where he's the lead villain, the Kang Dynasty. So
yes,
this is going to have to. This movie, I feel like, has big shoes to kind of set up the next point of where we're going.
It does. Massively, I think, really massively. And given that it's the opening of Phase 5, early next year.
Yeah.
What is it? Spring 23, March 23, or something like that.
Something like that.
I'm very much excited for it, and yes, I like Ant-Man. Yes, I like the Wasp. I like Hank Pym. I assume Janet Van Dyne's going to be back. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yes. Bill Murray is in this movie.
Bill Murray's in the movie. Okay.
Yeah.
I think this also was and everybody else is going to that movie for Kang. I think that's what we're going to that movie for.
And again, this movie has big shoes to fill because it's going to be the kicking off point of where we're getting to Kang kind of wreaking havoc and everything like that. But also Peyton Reed, like, dude, your movies have been able to be their kind of own thing up to this point. So
now it really isn't.
Now it really isn't. He's gonna have to play with the other toys. So I'm really curious to see how he's gonna be able to do that. This was also another trailer they showed that they did give a bit of a description about. I guess Scott has written a book about his experiences saving the world. Then he gets a phone call from jail. Cassie's been arrested for doing superhero work. So at some point, I'm sure she gets her kind of Ant-Man suit. She does play a character named Stature. She's Stature in the comics, where she can grow really big. So she wants to fight crime. Scott is telling her not to. He, then kind of has to throw in everyone's face that he saved the world, and they're all kind of frustrated with him. And, oh, we haven't heard this story before, Scott, annoyed that he keeps bringing it up that he saved the world. Then he kind of has a run-in with Kang and tells him he's one of the Avengers. And Kang's like, have I killed you before? Because obviously, I'm sure through his lifetimes, he's killed several Avengers. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on with that. That he does get sucked into the quantum realm, I think. And that's where they see Bill Murray, who does mention that he knows Janet somehow. So I don't know. Yeah.
I love how you do delve into all this kind of thing. You are
excited.
But you get excited in a totally different way to kind of I get excited. And you get excited about this kind of stuff to the point where you need to know kind of absolutely everything before.
Like, I want to know about these characters. Like, if I haven't read these comics, I want to dive into, okay, what is this person's origin? What are these kinds of things with their backstory, so that when, they do pepper in moments for maybe people who don't know about the comics, but, they might pepper in things for comic readers. I want to be one of the people who are like, oh, I get that. I want to be like New Cap, who gets the reference, understood that reference.
Yes. Okay. I like that. I get that. I do. Yes. I understand that. I almost need. I just kind of need way less to be, I think, equally as
You're very
excited.
simple. You're very simple in what excites you. I'm
I
just
am.
a
I
very deep
am.
diver. I've always been like that. Someone who wants to know behind the scenes and special features and what's going on
Yeah.
here and what is this person's origin and
Oh,
all of this. Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I enjoy that as well, but I more enjoy that
You
after the
don't need
movie.
it. I feel like
No, but I more
I
enjoy
need
it
to
after the
know.
movie. I don't
Yes.
want it before necessarily. I want it
Yeah.
after.
Okay. Fair enough.
The Marvels is something we have spoken about because we did a
The whole
little
thing of
live
yeah.
discussion on Miss Marvel. I'm very, very, very much into the Marvels, and way more so thanks to Miss Marvel.
Yes, definitely. It is going to be a
Um,
very strange dynamic. I'm just
it
curious to
is.
see because it's going to be Kamala fangirling over Carol while Monica is being icy as hell to Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a weird, trio of emotions and adoration to frustration. And I really want to see how that three-way dynamic is going to play out.
100%. You want to hear more about that? Go and watch our Miss Marvel end
Yes.
of season kind of discussion there, and then Blade, and which is going to be, I love, because it's going to be very much on its own.
Yes.
And okay, you heard Blade's voice at the end of Eternals, didn't you? Does that come into play?
Great
Phenomenal casting.
I've seen
casting.
plenty of
But
TikToks
also,
calling.
is it going to be nasty? Is it going to be like? Is it going to be like Wesley Snipes' Blade, where it's just gory as all hell?
Everywhere.
Are they
Yes.
going to be able to
It's
do
a vampire movie. This is a horror action movie. Blade has been always kind of in that vein of DC Marvel horror. So yeah, I hope they kind of go that route. And I've seen a lot of calls for Wesley Snipes cameo just to kind of honor what
just do it.
This man brought Marvel to life. Like, he kicked off Marvel in movies.
He did properly.
So, pay him his respects, pay him his dues, give Wesley his flowers. I think he still kind of wanted to come back and play Blade, but I don't think that's going to work. So give him something in this movie. Give him a little.
Why
something.
wouldn't that work? When multiverses exist, I'm throwing my pen at you. When multiverses exist, why the hell can't you just have a little silly cameo of Wesley Snipes
of multiversal Blade? But I mean, does Blade age like that? I don't know. I mean, Black don't crack, but Wesley is cracking a little bit. And that was an argument somebody gave. That was an argument somebody gave me for why Angela Bassett could still play Storm, a multiversal version of her playing Storm.
Sure. Yes. Okay. So fair enough. I like the idea of that. I do. But I also like the idea of this, and I am
older Blade coming in, and yeah, that would be cool.
I am very, very excited for Blade as well, because it's going to be that step back. It's going to be that separate thing.
Yes,
it's not going to be massively, consequential to the rest of what's going on in the wider MCU world at that exact moment. It's going to be very, very singular.
And we've gotten like genre films within the MCU. So we had our our MCU heist film with the Ant-Man movies. We have our MCU kind of spy espionage film with Winter Soldier. This could be our MCU
Gore Fest.
Yes. So I love that. So hopefully they do lean into those elements and really are true to this character.
Yeah, you try doing a little bit. You try doing a little bit in Multiverse of Madness. Just turn the gore even further up. Just keep going with it.
Honestly, you would not be here without Blade, I don't think.
No.
Like, MCU would not exist without those movies. So they definitely need to honor them well, honor Mr. Snipes. So we'll see.
Yeah. Now, Phase 5 TV shows. We have What If Season 2, Secret Invasion, Echo, Loki Season 2, Ironheart, which we've kind of spoken about, Agatha, Coven of Chaos, and Daredevil Born Again. So
definitely Daredevil, because I think I did hear some things that they are planning on keeping it TV mature, so they still can be in the vein of what the Netflix series was. Echo, so he's going to be in that as well. So curious to see
He
him
is.
in Murdoch Madness. So he's got 3 shows he's
Murdoch
popping
Madness.
in
Murdoch
yes, in
Madness.
full effect. So I love that they're using him. I love that they're not completely ignoring, you know, his iteration of Daredevil because he was great. So that's probably my most
Where are the
anticipated.
rest of them?
I know. I mean, Jessica Jones was great. Luke Cage was great. The only one,
We do. Yes, we do. The thing
but
is, I'm saying where are the rest of them, but I kind of mean it. You're doing this. Bring some of the others in.
yes,
Bring the others in.
we saw pictures of them together. We saw a picture
Why
of
not?
of Mike.
Why
Coulter
not bring
and,
the others in?
Yeah,
I am sure they would all be willing to do it. I'm absolutely sure they would all be willing to do it. Like you said, though, Daredevil is going to be in the Echo show. That's going to be very Kingpin focused again, isn't it? Because we got Echo from Hawkeye. That's where kind of she's starting, and she was interesting enough in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
As a series itself, as a character herself, I don't think she necessarily, or that as a show
She had enough to
necessarily
do,
stands
but
out
yeah.
above the other shows there. But there's going to be interesting street level New York stuff going on in Echo,
Yeah.
which is what makes me excited for that. And that then going into Daredevil Born Again, which I just love the fact that it's called Daredevil Born Again, and I almost want them to actually do the story of Born Again. Because if you've read the Daredevil comic Born Again, that's actually up there if you're watching, it's somewhere on my little comic book shelf. It's a Daredevil at his lowest point. Kingpin makes,
Oh yeah, doesn't he like reveal his
regresses,
identity and
he
blows up his
regresses Matt
house
Murdock to his absolute lowest point, and he has to fight back from his lowest possible moment in his entire life to be born again as Daredevil.
Yeah.
If they're going to adapt that, I like that. If they're just using the name, as in, I'm
Just
back, I'm Daredevil.
Yeah, born again on Disney.
Exactly. Then, okay, I accept that as well. But if you actually want to tell an incredibly serious and brilliant Daredevil story, actually adapting Born Again would be a fantastic idea. What if season 2, again, I think is just going to be fun and weird and maybe have multiversal things you can bring in there, like we've kind of seen from What If season 1.
Yeah.
As plot lines, they didn't, they were self-contained. They were kind of fun little things that had no consequences, but characters have shown up in full live action movies again now, in multiversal forms. So I think What If season 2 is probably just going to give us more of that and be interesting, doubly interesting in that front. Loki season 2, I mean, I have to assume is again Kang's time to shine.
Yeah, because I mean now he's in the version of the TVA where it's all Kang all the time. So
there's going to be so many Jonathan Majors faces going around, isn't there? And him just kind of having conversations with himself and things like that.
It's a good face, so
it's not a bad face. He's a good-looking dude.
Yes,
he is. You've got Secret Invasion, which is obviously kind of feels a little bit Shield focused, but it's Nick Fury, it's Skrulls.
Yes, which they did show. They did show some clips of that as well. Apparently, Nick Fury has been off world for a long time.
He has.
Maria Hill's been calling him. He hasn't been answering. And I think it said that the reason he hasn't come back is because Skrulls are kind of everywhere. So he just doesn't want to deal with it. So that's why he didn't come back, something like that. And it shows Talos in his regular Ben Mendelsohn form. And I think someone is talking. I can't remember the details, but someone is talking to somebody else about the Skrulls taking over or something, and then that person stands up, and then everyone in the room turns into looking like that one guy.
Oh, okay.
And yes, and that's like how it ends. So then you just see how many, friggin' Skrulls are there and how easily they can just shapeshift into you or anyone around you. So you have no idea.
I think it's going to be I really do think it's going to be quite fun because I think it's going to be more consequential than we're maybe giving it credit for. Because I think like some pretty big people are going to end up being Skrulls
Yeah.
that we, you know, that
But we had no
have
idea.
infiltrated, and we don't quite know the Skrulls kind of mentality. Are they good? Are they not good?
Because Captain Marvel had us believing that first half of the movie they were bad, and then the end we're siding with them and trying to find homes for these refugee, help these refugee Skrulls. So, and
very
they're working with
interesting
Nick
alien
Fury
race
in Far From Home, and
they
so
are.
so what is going on to now? It's like
Maybe
the sinister plot.
well, maybe it is Talos as the good guy Skrull who is trying to stop his fellow Skrulls
Bad guy Skrulls,
from taking over, because no, don't do that, my brethren. These people are nice. And he's going,
Yes.
shut up, Talos.
Yeah, get out
I
of
imagine that's going to be what Secret
You've
Invasion is, basically.
You've assimilated to this ridiculous planet.
And then I think, again, rather excitingly, is Agatha Coven of Chaos.
Yes.
Again, I just see this being hilarious and fun and kind of goofy, but also probably twisted and dark and a little bit of a different kind of horror.
Yeah,
like
Catherine Hahn was a standout, so to have her come back,
really was.
Yes,
but
she was amazing.
What it's going to matter to everybody else, I'm not too sure. But she's going to find somebody, who that person is, who these people are, who she's going to find to mess around with, I don't know. But she's going to find somebody again.
Yeah.
Is she going back for Wanda? Probably not.
So I want to see how she breaks out of this spell that Wanda has put her under, and where she goes from there. So
it's gonna be fun. I really like Agatha Harkness, and again, just the weird witchiness. Give me weird witchiness in the MCU. This is what you get from her.
We don't have anything like that, so
that is exciting. Now, as for the 3 things we have announced from Phase 6, there's several more slots of things to be announced. I believe the D23
is where more things are
festival or convention or whatever it is where the remainder of Phase 6 is going to be revealed. But for now, we have the beginning. The first movie in Phase 6 is the new Fantastic Four, and I think we've spoken enough about that in the past to wonder what the hell is going to happen there.
Yeah,
we're excited for it. Who knows who's going to play who?
And
it's going to be
it's in some of the elements of Black Panther, I think, in the comics, where Dr. Doom was kind of behind Namor and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so people are speculating that could introduce Dr. Doom to later then be in Fantastic Four stuff.
I have heard that a potential Wakanda Forever end credit scene is going to introduce Dr. Doom. Now, that would give us an entire phase. That would give us all those movies and TV shows we just brought up before we'd see Dr. Doom presumably again in a Fantastic Four movie.
Yes. So
that's a long many things. It's not necessarily a long amount of time anymore. It's like a couple of years.
But they may have to do a bit of setup here and there, because I also think I heard that they are going to go the Spider-Man route and not do a Fantastic Four origin. They're just going to jump into they are the Fantastic Four. They have these powers. They are living their lives.
I like that, though. I do like that. But it's going to be interesting to kind of hear what have they been doing.
Yeah. So why weren't they involved in these kinds of situations? But also,
how long have they been active?
Yes, because I don't know that I like that as much as I do with something like a Spider-Man, because I don't know that their origins are as commonly known as like a Spider-Man or a Batman or something, I think
admittedly neither do I.
Yes. So I think it would be fair to do an origin for them, not waste a whole movie on the origin, but to kind of just jump into them having powers. I don't know how that's going to go and how they're going to explain away why they were not involved in whatever helping
You could
situation.
simply, you could play the movie of them simply as they are, but allude to the origin though. Maybe not
Yes.
show it, but
Yeah.
allude to it. Explain it away to the people that don't know, because ultimately, the Fantastic Four are the first family of Marvel. They are Marvel. Marvel is the Fantastic Four. That
Yeah.
came first.
Yeah.
That was the first Marvel thing. So maybe more people do know the Fantastic Four than we give credit. And I think as weird as those, weird as 2005's Fantastic Four was, I think people watch that movie.
I loved that movie.
You know?
I'm sorry. I like
So I
those.
think
I
people
love
are
early
aware.
Marvel, good for good or bad. That was like the origin of comic book movies in theaters. So
Now, quite
yes,
thankfully, though, I think Fantastic Four, after all that kind of craziness from Phase 5, I think Fantastic Four is actually going to be quite a simple movie.
yeah,
As in, you are literally just getting the excitement in that isn't what's happening. The excitement in it is seeing who's playing who.
who's in it? Yes,
Is
like
seeing
because
who's in
the
it.
casting has been very kind of crazy from that 2005 movie to the Fan Four stick. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm really
And
curious to see who they get.
the two after that are, again, Avengers the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. Now, the Kang Dynasty, again, we have to assume that is either the peak of Kang or the culmination of Kang. I assume it's the peak of Kang and his
Yeah, I
powers, and maybe
believe.
in Secret Wars, because aren't both movies coming out in 2025, which does seem a little bit extreme to have two full Avengers movies in the same year. But then again, Infinity War and Endgame were only a year apart themselves.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we don't
Well, I
know
mean,
anything about those movies at
I
all.
think if you're kind of looking at comic stuff, which I've also kind of looked into, Kang Dynasty is
Okay.
basically like a whole kind of coalition and group of Kangs from different multiverses, and they all kind of make decisions on how to run things and do things and who's going to do what and whatever. So if we do get a whole kind of, Senate room full of Kangs all making these crazy
Yeah,
decisions on the multiverse, I think that'll be interesting. So
it will.
yeah.
It will. But as for Secret Wars, the only thing I am aware of in Secret Wars is that it's a very significant comic book. And I assume very similar to how Infinity, War was done with, the Infinity
Yes.
Gauntlet book. It's going to be a pretty somewhat accurate adaptation for this universe.
But the thing for me is the part of that title is Avengers. Who are our Avengers
Yes.
going to be? That is the main thing I'm focused on. Who are
Well,
our Avengers going to be at this point?
I mean, at that point,
Who
we don't really know, do
because
we?
our
We
roster,
assume.
yeah, our roster has dissipated, died, fallen apart, and so yeah, what is going to be this new iteration? Who is this team going to consist of?
Well, the thing is, if you want me to answer that, which I will try and do, I assume Strange is still around.
Okay.
Peter Parker's still around.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi
Okay.
is still around. We didn't actually mention the Thunderbolts either, did we? Unfortunately, but that is another thing we should be excited about the
And
Thunderbolts.
isn't Shang-Chi director? He's directing the Kang Dynasty.
That's
I believe
true.
that was
Yes.
recently announced. Yes.
Shang-Chi is going to be involved in the Avengers, and then it's all your younger people. It's your Marvels. I think the Marvels, the three of them,
Yeah.
they're going to
Kate
be
Bishop,
involved. Kate Bishop's going to be
maybe
involved.
Ironheart.
Ironheart, you have to assume, would be involved. You'd have to assume it's going to be similar to what Infinity War and Endgame is, and literally have every one of the newly introduced characters
Ant-Man,
in there to some degree.
Cassie.
Ant-Man and the Wasp and Cassie are probably still going to be involved, aren't they? Even though Paul Rudd will be 74 at that time, he'll still look the same. He's not going to be 74 because it's only 3 years away, isn't it? But
yes, he'll be like, what, almost 60.
And he'll still look the same.
He'll still look amazing.
He will.
Yes. So I'm just like excited to see.
Moon
So
Knight.
yes, I
Does
know.
Moon Knight come back?
I don't know. I mean, we'll see where his story goes.
He's on it because he's really on his own.
Yes. So we have a pool of people definitely to pick
Eternals.
from. I just want to know who's going to be in this final squad because there's a definite pool. But I just want to see who's the official circle shot people. Don't think crumbling city people.
I just don't think we're going to know until it turns up.
I know. And that's what has me excited. Not the subtitle Avengers. Who the hell are these Avengers going to be? I want to know.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree with that more, to be honest with you, Jeannine. But as for who are our Avengers, I think it's now about time for some fun and games. Do you?
Yes.
Now, the game today, we are playing Quick Fire Actors.
I think you're excited because you saw how I fumbled up the high evolutionary. So you know my brain is not working right.
Now, I'm actually going to try and score this properly. So we've got it in rounds, really, haven't we, Jeannine? We've got it in like a round 1, round 2, and round 3 of quickfire actors. This is the fun and games today. It is MCU characters.
Okay.
Tier 1 characters, Tier 2 characters, Tier 3 characters. We've been somewhat vague on what Tier 1, 2, and 3 means.
Yes.
But logic dictates the way, I think, for us and for you guys watching and listening. But all we're going to do is go back and forth with each other and ask each other to who plays this person.
Yes.
That's all we're doing.
So tier 1, I think we're kind of leaning towards, and all of these are first appearances, and we're leaning towards actors who played a significant part.
Yes, that must be said.
Fairly
actually
popular. I tried not to pick like straight up Avengers people, but people who were in their nearest vicinity who played a very significant part in their first movie and going forward.
That must be said. That must be said. Actually, first appearance of the characters are what we're going for in terms of who's played them. We are also going for well, you have taken the first 18 movies of the MCU. You have taken everything
Iron Man to Black Panther.
Iron Man to Black Panther. I am what come directly after Black Panther? I forget now. I think it actually might have been.
That's all that matters.
Infinity War.
Infinity War. Yes.
I am Infinity War and since. So
including shows.
I get phase. Shows. I get phase 4.
You have shows and shit. So I think I have
a tougher job
to do. So tier 2 are second tier actors, sidekicks that were significant but not as important.
Yeah, kind of that.
Maybe had one appearance. Maybe appeared in several movies, but still were, for the most part, kind of background people.
Yeah, with people who played them being maybe not A-listers to an A-list degree, but fairly known people who you probably have heard of.
Yes. And third tier are people who had maybe one appearance, who were not as significant, who had their little moment, but, you maybe don't remember they were there until someone brings them up, and then you're like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They played that person.
Yes. So they may have had something to do. They may have had a significant moment in their movie or movies after, but you kind of forgot that they were there until somebody like, oh, yeah, that guy.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think we start. Jeannine, I'm going to write down.
Okay.
Because we're kind of giving each other time limit as well.
Yeah.
A little bit of a vague time limit, but so I don't necessarily have a stopwatch going.
Okay.
But I will count. I don't know how many. I don't know how long to go. I don't know how long to go.
20 is 20 seconds too long?
20 seconds is way too long for tier 1.
Okay, 10 seconds, 15
Tier
seconds.
1. I think we should literally just say the name. So, and then you...
Because I'm saying person
fire
in
back
this
to me.
movie, person in that movie, person in this movie. Okay, no?
Oh,
Not even
you're...
the movie?
No, I'm not even saying the movie. I literally
Okay.
have a list of names.
Okay, well, that'll make it even tougher. All right. Okay.
So I don't have a movie. So I don't know about this
Okay.
time limit now. Maybe we just play it by what feels appropriate. So if it's
Okay.
a little bit too long for an obvious person, just say time's up.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay?
Okay. All right.
So, who's going first?
Okay. I like to get mine over with and look stupid, and then hopefully you look more stupid after me so that people forget. So I'll go first.
So
Go ahead and
you want to
I'll
answer
guess.
first,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Round 1. Ding, ding, ding. Mysterio.
Jake Gyllenhaal. I said.
Yo, yes. No, I was expecting the question back at me.
Wong.
Benedict Wong. Moon Knight.
Oscar Isaac. Obadiah Stane.
Jeff Bridges. Carol Danvers.
Brie Larson. Loki.
Tom Hiddleston. Shang-Chi.
Simu Liu. Peggy Carter.
Oh my god. Completely
10,
forgotten the name.
11,
Completely
12,
forgotten the name.
13, 14, 15. I'll give you till 20. 16,
Completely
17,
forgotten the name.
18, 19, 20. Okay. Haley Atwell.
Completely forgotten the name. I apologize for that.
Yes.
Ah, Yelena Belova.
Oh, Florence Pugh. Betty Ross.
Liv Tyler. Gore the God Butcher.
Christian Bale. Rhodey 2008.
Terrence Howard. Icarus.
Barry Keegan.
Wrong. Incorrect.
Oh no, Icarus is
incorrect.
Is Rob Stark, right?
Incorrect. We must request first answer only.
No.
First answer only.
No, it's Rob Stark. Which I can't think of his name anyway, so damn it.
We're looking for Richard Madden.
Richard Madden. Ugh. Boo. Okay. Doing so good so far. Boo. Okoye.
I couldn't hear that.
Okoye.
Oh, Denai Guerrera. Reed Richards.
Oh, John Krasinski. Vulture.
Michael Keaton. Norman Osborn.
Oh, Willem Dafoe. You're being real tricky right now. Killmonger.
Michael B. Jordan. Kingpin.
Vincent D'Onofrio. Ultron.
James Spader. Matt Murdock.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Cox. What? We literally have been talking about him this whole time. I'm looking at him right now.
I'm going to give you 5.
Cox.
4.
No.
3.
No. Cox.
2.
No.
1. Bye. Time.
Charlie Cox.
Oh.
Come
I'll
on.
give you it.
Come on. Because then
I'll give
I
you
got
it.
stupid Brian Cox in my head, and I
Brian
couldn't get it out. I couldn't get the Brian out.
I'll give you it. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Odin.
Anthony Hopkins. Kamala Khan.
Oh, what's her name? Just watched an interview with her. Yeah, I don't remember.
Is this a pass?
It's a pass.
Oh, Iman Vellani, or however you
Yes.
pronounce her name.
Yes. Falcon.
Anthony Mackie.
Mm.
After round 1, that is 11-10 to me.
Boo.
I missed Haley Atwell.
Yes.
You missed. Who did you miss? You missed
Kamala
Richard
Khan.
Madden
And Richard Madden.
and Iman Vellani.
Yeah.
Okay. And round 2, Jeannine, would you like to go first? That was 12 in tier 1.
Okay.
We have 15 in tier 2. Would you like to answer first again?
Yes.
I'm excited. I like this. This is fun.
No, I don't like this at all.
Okay, tier 2, Jeannine to go first with John Walker.
Wyatt Russell.
Yes.
The Ancient One.
Tilda Swinton. Talos.
Ben Mendelsohn. I'm like, I just said it. We were talking before. Maria Hill.
Kobe Smulders.
Okay.
Mobius.
Oh. Why is my brain not being able to process who that is?
You're not please don't tell me you're thinking of the Jared Leto vampire movie.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. I can't.
Mobius.
I know.
I'm giving you 5.
My brain can't get Morbius out of my head now that you said that. Thank you.
3,
you cheated. You screwed with me.
2,
wait. No.
1, 0. We were looking for Owen Wilson.
Oh, Mobius from Loki.
Mobius from Loki.
Fair. That's not fair. I'm like, why can't I think about who that is? Hate you. So unfair. Quicksilver.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. Kate Bishop.
Haley Steinfeld. M'Baku.
Winston Duke. Monica Rambeau.
Tiana Paris. Happy Hogan.
John Favreau. Zhu Wenwu.
No, I'm not gonna get this.
Is this a straight pass or a countdown? I'm giving a straight pass. I'm giving 5.
Say the name again.
Zhu Wenwu. I'm giving 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. We are looking for Tony Leung.
Yeah. Aldrich Killian.
Guy Pearce. Dane Whitman. We'll have no Googling,
I'm not
Jeannine.
Googling. No, I'm Googling something else. I'm not Googling that.
Googling something else? I'm not going to believe that.
I don't know. Wait.
Dane Whitman.
Is that what's his face? Are you trying to get me with all these Game of Thrones people?
I will give 5.
I don't remember his name either.
4.
Is this Jon Snow? And I don't
3,
remember his name. Kit Harington.
2. Kit Harington.
There was someone who, since I thought we were saying the movies, I just put their last name. But I'm like, you're being tricky. So I want to use their first and last name. And so I was trying to look at that person's name. First name, so that I could add it to my list. But it's tier 3, so I will get it before we start tier 3. Okay. Ned Leeds.
Jacob Batalon.
I hate you.
Classic Loki.
What?
Classic Loki.
What does that
official
mean?
Character's name. As official character's name, Classic Loki.
Richard E. Grant?
Yes.
So mean. Trying to be all sneaky and shit. Mordo.
Chiwetel Ejiofor. Arthur Harrow.
Excuse me.
Arthur Harrow.
You are such a brat.
I don't know why that makes me a brat.
It does. No.
With Arthur Harrow, I will give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. We're looking for Ethan Hawke.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I have to change some things.
Okay, why?
Because I think I picked somebody on my list that you already had on your list. So I think maybe I got my channels crossed or something.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So let me just change that. Yeah, I had Mysterio on mine for some reason.
Yes, that was Mysterio. It was in Far
Yeah.
From Home.
Yes. Yes.
Which came after Black Panther.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we ready to? Yes.
Yes.
Are we ready to continue with round 2?
Everett Ross.
Is Martin Freeman.
Ooh.
Agatha Harkness.
Catherine Hahn. Hope Van Dyne.
Is Evangeline Lilly. Thena.
Angelina Jolie.
Yes.
Whiplash.
Oh, Mickey Rourke. She-Hulk.
Oh my gosh. Tatiana Maslany.
Yes.
Hella.
Kate Blanchett. Khonshu. Or more specifically, the voice of Khonshu. Khonshu certainly does not look like this person.
You're so mean. I don't like you at all.
I don't know. This is tier 2. I think this is tier 2.
I'm giving you way much easier ones than you're giving
For
me.
Khonshu, I'm giving you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Jeannine, we're looking for F. Murray Abraham.
Yes. Okay. Caecilius.
Is Mads Mikkelsen. America Chavez.
That's so mean. She has that name that starts with an X.
Not a name you forget once you hear it.
I know. Yeah. No. Sorry.
No? Straight
I don't
pass?
remember. I don't remember.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but Xochitl Gomez.
Yeah. Nope. Nebula.
Karen Gillan.
Yes.
Druig.
Barry Keoghan.
Barry Keoghan. Yes.
Terrible. I hate you. Okay, let me go find that name.
Is that the end of our? Is that the end of our?
That is the name. The end of tier 2.
The end of our tier 2. It is okay. The score is currently Jeannine on 20, Morgan on 25.
Good for you, Morgan. So excited for you.
Don't be bitter. This is a long episode of Monday Madness now. I'd just like to make you aware of that.
Yes, I'm fully aware.
Tier 3 to finish us off. MCU Quickfire Actors Game. Jeannine.
Yes.
Are you ready to begin tier 3? We have 8 each.
Yes.
In tier 3. And are you answering first again?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
For round 3. Ding, ding, ding. Begins with Ravonna Renslayer.
Sounds like it's from Harry Potter. Renslayer? What's that even from?
Ravonna Renslayer. This game not only tests your knowledge of actors, it tests your knowledge of actual characters' names.
Yeah. I'm just going to say Rachel Weisz. I have no idea.
It is Gugu Mbatha Raw from Loki.
Ah, okay. Darren Cross.
Ooh. Oh, God. Darren Cross, Yellow Jacket. What's his name? Bald dude. What's his name? Oh. That's horrendous. I don't know that guy's name. I don't know his name. I can picture him. I don't know his name. What's his name? Pass. I'm passing him.
Okay. Corey Stahl.
Corey Stahl. Okay, fair enough. Eleanor Bishop.
Vera Farmiga.
It is Vera Farmiga.
Fandral 1.
Oh my. Is that Zachary Levi? Or is that the other dude who played him before Zachary Levi?
Yes, it is the guy who played him before Fandral 1.
I don't know who that is. Who's that?
I mean, he looks just like you. Josh Dallas.
Josh
of
Dallas.
Once Upon a Time fame.
Wow, okay. Bruno Corelli.
Oh, dear me, who is that? All these TV show people. That is
I'm
not...
so thankful for the TV shows,
Yeah,
Jeannine.
I know. I'm sure you are.
Moon Knight and Loki have really helped me out here.
Yeah, because they're like, I was only paying attention to a fine ass Oscar Isaac. I wasn't looking at nobody else in that damn show. Bruno Corelli, I don't even know who that is.
Is this a straight pass?
Yes, it's a pass.
That is Bruno, Kamala Khan's best mate from
Bruno.
Miss Marvel.
If you had said Brian, I would have known what you were talking about.
Who is played by Matt Lintz.
Okay. Jasper Sitwell.
Oh, I know the name as well. I know that name.
It's one of those names. If you hear it, you'll never forget it.
I know that name as well. I don't know who plays that. I know that character name. I don't know who it is. That's a straight pass.
Maximiliano Hernandez.
Oh, wow. Okay. Kingo.
It's like I know that name, but I can't even remember what it's from. Is that Brian Tyree Henry?
No. It's Kumail Nanjiani.
Ah, okay. I'm like, I know it's from Eternals, but
God bless the Eternals as well.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
Why are you just laughing?
Paxton.
Excuse me. Paxton? This could be anybody. This is definitely early Iron Man. I've got no idea. Who the hell is Paxton?
Well, I originally thought we were going to say the movies, but you said no.
No, I don't. I like not saying the movies. Who is Paxton? Who on earth is that? I don't even know who it is. Pass.
Bobby Cannavale, Cassie's stepdad.
Is that? Oh, okay. Is that his name?
Paxton. Good old Paxton from MC.
Oh dear.
I was looking to see if he had a first name, but I couldn't find anything. It's just his Paxton.
Okay. Titania.
Titania.
Titania. A straight pass?
No. Straight pass.
No? Yeah. That is Jamila Jamil from She-Hulk.
Oh, see, that hasn't even come out yet.
I had She-Hulk before. I had She-Hulk herself before.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Okay, fine. Justin Hammer.
Justin Hammer with Sam Rockwell. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Oh, oh my gosh, Elaine. What's her name, Elaine? Elaine from Seinfeld. What's your name? I'm blanking. Oh my gosh. No! No! What's her name? Picturing her face. Oh my gosh. Oh, what's her name? Oh my gosh, I'm so blanking.
I'm going to have to give you a 5, a 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0.
Damn it.
We're looking for Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Okay. Nicodemus West.
Excuse me.
Nicodemus
Who?
West. Nicodemus West.
Oh, what on earth? I don't even know what that's from. That's got to be early Iron Man.
You think everything's really Iron Man?
Yeah, because I don't know it. Nicodemus West. West. Anybody called West? West. I haven't got a clue. I don't know. Straight pass.
Michael Stuhlbarg.
Is that Michael Stuhlbarg's name? Oh, for God's sake. Oh, dear. Okay. Hercules.
Oh. It's Roy Kent. It's his name. Oh my gosh. You're so mean. Roy Kent.
I thought you'd get this one
What is his
straight
name?
away.
I know, and I'm not remembering it. I'm remembering his character name from Ted Lasso, and that's like overtaking my brain. I didn't think you were going to be this dirty.
I don't think that's
Yes.
dirty.
Looking
for Hercules.
I am aware that's what you're looking for.
And shortly I shall have to give you...
Yes, I know.
A 5. A 4. 3. 2.
Nope.
1.
I can't remember.
And a nope. And a nope. We're looking for Brett Goldstein. Brett Goldstein. Jeannine, do you have one left?
I have 2 left.
Oh, I have
I
one left.
miscounted. Okay, well.
I don't.
Rumlow.
Rumlow is Frank Grillo, isn't it?
Yes.
Fastos.
Is that Brian Tyree Henry?
That's Brian Tyree Henry, yes.
I've only watched The Eternals the one time. Okay, last one.
Oh, no.
You're magically gonna know this, and I'm gonna feel like an idiot because I thought it was so smart.
Okay.
And if that happens, I'm gonna be so mad. And funnily enough, it's what you've been saying this whole time.
Early Iron Man.
Jensen.
Jensen?
Yes.
Oh. No. I can't even picture Jensen. I can't. I've got no
man
idea.
In the cave that helped him build the suit, that told him to keep living on.
Oh, wow.
Don't waste it. Don't waste it, Stark.
Who was that?
Pops up again at the conference that he said he met him at in Iron Man 2.
Who was that?
You giving up your past?
I am giving up. I am
asking.
I
believe you say Sean Taub or Taub. It's like Taub. Sean Taub.
Okay. Well, Jeannine, final scores are in. Jeannine, 22. Morgan, 27.
That's brutal. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
There we are. TV shows, so unfair.
Reaching the end of another beautiful episode of Monday Madness. But Monday Madness is not the only show we have on this YouTube channel or this podcast feed, is it, Jeannine?
It is not. Of course, other things we have on the YouTube channel are fun watch-alongs. We do breakdown videos of TV shows and new movies, so check all of that out over there on the YouTube channel. And on the podcast feed, every Wednesday, we have our show Morgan Hasn't Seen, where I force you to watch movies you haven't seen. August is my birthday month, so I'm having some fun with you, taking you back to the 90s and early 2000s to watch some teen thrillers.
Yes, it's very exciting,
Oh, yes. That
isn't
sounded very
it?
sarcastic,
Mm.
Morgan.
Mm.
Trust me, you're gonna enjoy yourself. But
I'm just thankful I won this week's game.
congratulations.
Laughter.
But a show that you probably enjoy a little bit more is It's a Wonderful Podcast every Friday, our main show, where we give love to classic movies.
Oh, yes, we certainly do. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have you covered on the It's Wonderful podcast feed. Anchor, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast, Castbox, everywhere else as well. And all the stuff you said we do on this YouTube channel. Subscribe, ding your notification bells on here if you are watching Monday Madness in its full video glory. Subscribe to the podcast feed if you are over there. There is links in the descriptions to things like the Patreon if you want to support us in that way, the donation link if you want to support us in that way, or just our Twitters at the show at It's a Wonderful One. I am on Twitter at the Purple Don with a 3 instead of the E in the because Jeannine.
3 is the magic number.
On Instagram at just the Purple Don. All your delightfully MCU-ish stuff is where.
You can find me at Jeannine _ on Twitter, Jeannine on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to get any merch for our shows, the link is in our description. Just find us, It's a Wonderful Podcast, on teespring.com. We got fun merch there, all of our logos, some fun Stranger Things designs, so check that all out at our Teespring shop. And if you want to purchase any of my art in print form, you can find that at my Big Cartel shop, j9design.bigcartel.com.
Yes, there we go, Jeannine. I think there's only one thing left to do. It's a countdown. There's no fun impression, so just do it however you want. Yay!
3, 2, 1.
Bye.